Hey friends, hope everyone is doing well. Your two favorite therapists are here to talk to you a little bit about what the next 2 weeks might look like. Before we get started, we want to acknowledge some of the emotions that you might be feeling over these next 2 weeks and let you know that they're really valid. Being home with your family, away from treatment, away from your normal activities, such as being here, being at school, working, and being with your friends can be really stressful. Some of the things that might come up for you are anxiety, depression, sadness, anger, frustration, a lot of really uncomfortable emotions, and we want to let you know that they're valid. It sucks being home for 2 weeks and being out of your normal routine. So what Bree and I are going to talk about today are some skills that can be really helpful over the next 2 weeks. And before we get started, we want to show you something that you've all seen before and talk a little bit about how to be mindful about what skills you're using and when. So what you might be feeling over the next 2 weeks might have a lot to do with what feels like a crisis. It also may have to do with feeling really dysregulated. You're feeling a lot of emotions, you don't have a safe space to express them, and this very well could feel like a crisis. So over the next few weeks, you might be in the 40 to 100 zone. And because that is such a wide or broad zone, there are a lot of different skills that can be used. So what we're first going to talk about is distress tolerance skills and crisis survival skills. Some of you might be feeling anxiety at a 70 or an 80. Some of you might be feeling sadness at a 90 or a 100, right? Some of you might be feeling hopelessness or fear.
Or stir crazy.
And so we're going to talk a little bit about when we feel in this red zone, this 70 to 100, what kind of skills can we use? And how can we get down to a point where we are using emotion regulation skills? Because remember, as we talk about in group, if we're trying to use an emotion regulation skill and we're at a 100, it's not going to work. And so what we're going to talk about today is how do we use skills in this red zone and get down to the blue zone. And Bree's going to start with the stop skill.
Yeah. So as you guys will know, stop is kind of the starter distress tolerance skill. You oftentimes forget about it because it sometimes does seem so simple, and yet it is so effective. So when we talk about stop, the first letter is quite literally stop. You want to stop whatever it is that you're doing. If you are at home, outside of your daily activities, little brother's being annoying, mom's on your back, whatever it might be, you are probably going to be experiencing some emotions. And it very well could be 70 to 100. So before you act on those emotion urges, we're going to encourage you to stop. We then want you to take a step back, whether that is physically or mentally, whether it's just like closing your eyes and envisioning yourself taking a step back and really processing what's going on right here, or quite literally removing yourself from the kitchen and going into your bedroom for a little bit just to cool off. This is also a skill of skills, in my opinion. Right here, when you take a step back, this might be your opportunity to use another skill like self-soothe or tip, just to get yourself to a point where you can then observe. When you are observing what is going on in this situation that is getting you to a point that you feel like you are in crisis or distress, you want to observe what's going on and how you're feeling and start to use non-judgmental language to describe it. Once you're to a point where you've observed what's going on non-judgmentally and really stuck to the facts of the situation, we then want you to go forward and proceed mindfully. So when you go back into your house, making sure that you are being mindful of the other people, making sure you are mindful of the behaviors that you're engaging with, because you're all in it together kind of right now. So making sure that when you are having maladaptive urges or experiencing really intense emotions that are making you want to isolate or avoid or whatever it might be, making sure that we stop, take a step back, whether it is physically or mentally. You're welcome to use another skill in that step back zone, and then just observing non-judgmentally what you're feeling, what is actually going on, really sticking to the facts of the situation, and then moving forward mindfully and respectfully of both yourself and the other people involved so that Nobody in the situation has to continue in that heightened state.